very much. Our next speaker is going to talk about cannabis advocacy, but before he comes up, I want to say, how many of you thought that you get the CBD or the THC from the leaves? How many of you thought that before this presentation? I can tell you before 2016, I thought the leaves, because that's what we see graphically a lot of times, is just the leaves. I thought the leaves was where that came from. I didn't know. I didn't want to know. I didn't care to know. Now I know it's the flower. So that was kind of a revelation for me in 2016. All right, at this time I'd like to welcome for a presentation on cannabis advocacy, Joe Cannacino, who's a podcaster.
How's everybody doing? I know you guys have been here for a couple hours already, so I'm going to make this nice and condensed, but I'm going to try to get my point across. I'm going to start by letting you guys know who I am. My name is Joe Cannacino. I am a businessman and entrepreneur, and I am a cannabis advocate. And the reason why, I'm going to tell you guys a little bit of my story. I used to play football in high school, and it was all fun and games until I got a very severe back injury. And it was a back injury, was a spinal injury that wasn't that big at the moment, but with time, it started getting worse and worse. So went to a lot of doctors. Everybody did the same thing: opioids, prescriptions, ibuprofen, 800 milligrams, Vicodins, Norcos. It was a cocktail of, like little Skittle bags of drugs. And with that came a lot of reactions that I wasn't expecting. I started getting dependable on these drugs. They started not eliminating the pain anymore. I started getting stomach problems because of all the pills I was taking. So I really didn't know what to do. I had a spinal surgery. I've had 2 spinal surgeries, but I had a spinal surgery and it wasn't that good. It was after the surgery I got more pills and more pills and more pills. Very dependent on these pills, very addicted on these pills. It started affecting my family life, my business life, and I didn't like it. I've been a cannabis, I guess, recreational user for quite some time now, but I never considered the medical benefits of cannabis until I had a doctor talk to me about cannabinoid therapy, which I really didn't know what it was. I always heard the word marijuana, smoking joints, and all this craziness, but I didn't know that cannabis was a lot more deeper than just joints and weed and all the terminology that we've heard. So I started doing a lot of research, a lot of research, medical research, started meeting with experts about the plant, and unfortunately, at that time, we didn't have regulations, so there wasn't a lot of research done here in the United States. But in other countries, there's been a lot of research done for some time now, including in Europe and in Asia and a lot of the countries on that side. So I started doing a lot of research for my own benefit. I really wanted to get this pain. It was really bad. I couldn't sleep at night. I didn't have patience for my family, and it was really affecting my life. And started drinking because, I wasn't an alcoholic, but it was a way for me to kind of relax the pain, but it was causing worse and worse effects. So a doctor of mine started talking to me about cannabinoid therapy and about the positive effects of cannabis, and started talking to me about THC, CBD, and the endocannabinoid system, which we've been talking about all day today. And I'm going to summarize it because it's a very complex system, and I love the way the doctors explained it because that's exactly what it is. The endocannabinoid system is responsible for keeping your body in balance. So the way my doctor explained it to me was, and I hope you guys can understand, is he goes, think of your body as a radio, like the old school radio, not the digital ones, the one that you had to kind of tune in to get the radio station, right? So because of the things we eat, because of injuries, because of stress, because of things we go through our daily lives, our bodies start getting into this, we have a lot of static in our bodies, right? Because of all the stuff we eat and the pains. And so the endocannabinoid system, CBD, THC, cannabinoid therapy, helps tune in to the right frequency, if you guys can understand what I'm saying. So in the right dosages, THC or cannabinoids doesn't necessarily have to get you high. They can actually benefit you in low dosages, or what we're calling now is microdosing. So with microdosing, we're talking 1 milligrams, 5 milligrams, maybe 10 milligrams. But when you use THC in combination with CBD, and this is my personal experience, you create what is called the entourage effect, which is a very famous terminology that I don't know if you guys heard about it, but the entourage effect is combining the cannabinoids together. So it's like when you drink a tea, chamomile or something like that, it contains cannabinoids. It contains terpene profiles. And these terpene profiles is what helps us either relax, get in a good mood, affects our nervous system, affects our stress. So combining THC and CBD in micro dosages, on my personal experience, helped me tremendously. So when I found out the benefit, that it was benefiting me immediately, I started sleeping better. I started having, I was able to control stress and anxiety, and more than anything, I was able to control the pain. So if there's anybody out here that has had any kind of pain, this really, really helps because it controls inflammation. So inflammations in our body are the main cause of the majority of diseases, overinflammations and stuff like that. So what I learned through my research was that through cannabinoid therapy, being able to supplement your endocannabinoid system, you're able to keep your body in balance, you know? So cannabis is much more than just weed, it's much more than just joints and stuff like that. There's many ways now to consume cannabis that doesn't include smoke, that doesn't include odor. There's a lot of tinctures that you can use. There's a lot of topicals and creams that I use personally for my family. Like my mom is very traditional. When I first started explaining to her about cannabis, she was like, no, you're just talking about weed. But she didn't understand that there was much more to it. So topicals, creams, tinctures, now they have edibles. And the good thing in the state of California, they limited it to a certain amount of dosages, and it has to be 10 milligrams per dosage. That way nobody consumes too much. But the way I've been affected, or the way I've been positively affected by cannabis has been incredible. I was on pills for over 10 years. I was in pain for a long time. Like I said, I'm a family man, I'm a businessman, and I wouldn't do something that was going to affect my family negatively, like alcohol or opioid addiction. So I know there's a lot of people out there that are looking for a relief, a natural relief, that have been in pills and have been in doctors and surgeries. And I think this is one of the greatest ways that we can provide reliefs to ourselves and to our community, especially through legalization, because now this medicine will now be lab tested, like we just heard, which I think is one of the most important aspects of legalization. Now we'll have clean products, and once we start with the retail part of it, we'll be able to control it a little bit more because we'll be eliminating the black market. So kids won't be able to get their hands on it now. The reason why kids get their hands on it is because of the black market. But once we have our licensed retail outlets, kids will not be able to get their hands on, because these people will be carded and make sure they're the right age, and it's much more control. So on a personal point of view, it's definitely helped me, it's helped my family, it's helped my business. That's why I decided to start the Trailblazing Podcast, which is about the cannabis industry. It talks about the business, it talks about the health benefits, different questions, because people always approach me, because they've seen me, a lot of friends and family, they've seen me in my past, how I was struggling and hurting and physical pain turns into mental pain, which is worse. But I decided to started this podcast called Trailblazing to help people to answer questions. So if you guys have any questions after this or anything, please feel free to approach me. You can also check out my email or email me at joecannacino@gmail.com. But like I said, this is great for the city of El Monte. I've seen what it has done to me. It has only affected me in positive ways. So I think this is a great route. Thank you so much.
So as we prepared for this event today, I realized, and you know, we've known this for some time now, the council, as we were going through this process of deliberation and making a decision about what to do in the city of El Monte, we became very well educated on all the issues related, whether there were security issues, testing issues, just the very nature of the plant itself and how the plant works on the cannabinoid, I'm not saying that right, I still don't say it right. Our system, right? Cannabinoid, no, geez. You see us? All right, ECS system. And I realized that we've benefited from all that information. We've gone through that process as a council. We've gone through that process with our staff. But there's a lot of people out in our community who are still very skeptical and very much without information about what we're doing, what we're allowing, what we're not allowing. And so the goal today was to provide some more information so people could see that we're not allowing sales in the city, even though on my Facebook post, I posted this video so that I could share it with people. I got someone saying, Mayor, we've got to allow retail sales in the city. And I'm like, wait, I'm not there yet. Even though I know all this information, even though I know that there's direct deliveries being allowed into our city by the state of California, I know that as a community we're still evolving and we're still not there yet and feeling comfortable with this topic. So it's a process. It was a process for me. I'm sure it's going to be a process for many of you still to go back and think to yourselves, something that was told to me from very young, don't do drugs, don't do drugs. And now all of a sudden people are saying, this is something that could help my body. It's very hard to bring those two concepts together and have them reconcile. And unfortunately, there are some folks out there who have an agenda. Our agenda is simple. We've put it out there for everyone to see. We would like to continue to allow medicinal cannabis cultivation in our city. And as a result of that business, it would be like having Eli Lilly or some other pharmaceutical company locating in your city. In that process, there will be resources generated for the benefit of our residents. We have one more presentation. It's our last presentation, two presentations rather. One, a pharmacist team, and then the last one is about careers in cannabis as well. So let's welcome